Hey, Mr. Fix-It-All here. I've got a '05 Kia Sportage. It had a bad rear wheel bearing. The whole wheel was loose. Everything was bad. Let me just give you the lowdown, but first and foremost, I want to thank anybody who has subscribed to me. I don't post a lot of videos. What I do post is stuff that I can't find. So chances are, if you see me now, it's something that I can't find on YouTube to identify how to fix this situation. Not that I need the answers, but sometimes I like to do my homework before, just to prepare. So, this is the rear wheel bearing. '05 Kia Sportage. When it's all together and you take off the drum, it looks like this. And then there's a nut that comes through the middle here. Well, the shaft, the CV axle, was actually stuck to the hub. Pretty much not coming out. I had a big puller hooked up to it, trying to push it out the center. I used heat, but the problem on this particular CV axle was the fact that it had a couple keyways already that went through the center, and as soon as my pullers didn't work and I started rapping on the back of the puller with a hammer, it mushroomed the end. I tried to fix it. I fixed it twice, but eventually it just got too bad because this CV axle would not come out. So let me just give you the hack of what I ended up doing. So here's the CV axle. Well, half of it. I cut this off because as I was pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding this axle out, as I was pounding and pounding that out, I didn't want to damage the differential, the rear differential. So what I did was I just used heat. I got it to about 800 degrees or better. They say 700, but in this case it was so frozen I didn't think any extra heat would hurt. So I did heat it, and then I bashed the crap out of it, and I got it to come out. This comes out pretty easy. You just smash it with a hammer. It comes out. After all the heat and stuff I did, I'm not going to reuse that. I'm also not going to try and do anything with the CV axle that I had to cut, because there's nothing you can do. So with this particular one, when the bearings come out, or when you get the hub off, you've got what's left of the race from the bearings. I used my acetylene torch and I put a slice down the middle of this. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Be careful that you don't score this too much. A little dot here and there from the torch isn't going to make a big difference, but you definitely don't want to cut this. So as you can see, all I did was cut pretty much just through the race, and then I used my air chisel. Pushed it right out, no issue. Don't forget, you got to take this out before you even try that, the C-clip. So I got that out. Finally I got it out. I used a lot of heat. This bearing was outside. I set it outside. It's about 30 degrees outside right now, so this bearing was outside and this was still quite hot. Hurried up, grabbed my bearing assembly pieces here, and I just tapped them in. They actually went in really easy. And then immediately, to keep these bearings from getting hot, I doused the outer bearing housing with cold water, so that this never heated up to the point where I couldn't touch it. If it did, there's rubber seals in here on both sides. They can go bad. You can also score the bearings. So heat is a big danger when you're doing it with this. However, it was hot. I put it in. It was cold. The bearings were cold. It kind of went right into place with only a little bit of tapping. No big issue. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my C-clamp back on it, and then I'm going to put my hub back in it. But you just can't pound the hub straight in it, because when you start pounding it, this you can see these bearings are in two. This is the outer and this is the inner. When you start going to put that hub in there, it will go through the outer, and as soon as it hits the inner, it'll push all the inner out. Not a good deal. So the fix to that is to grab yourself a long, strong bolt, and this isn't the bolt I'm going to use, but you put that in, make sure that it's connected to the inside of this inner part of the bearing, because you're going to put your hub on it and you're just going to tighten the bolt. This will pull this all the way in, and then it's a done deal. Then I will undo my strut, lean everything back, put my CV axle back in place. It should slide in, and then I can start putting everything back together again. If you have this issue, you know, heat is your friend. I don't know how many people have acetylene torches, but you have to do something. The acetylene torch was my friend on this one. I've got a puller that just wasn't strong enough, and on top of that, the actual center shaft of the CV axle wasn't strong enough to take the pressure from pushing on the center without mushrooming the whole threaded area. So I started off doing it by the book, and then I ended up having to have ad-lib. So if you have this situation, 05 Kia Sportage, I don't know, nobody can find these hubs. So I'm about to take a trip to Napa and see if they can find one for me. I'm not going to reuse this one. A lot of times when you put your pullers on them and stuff, they do warp. So I don't want to deal with it. I want to do this by the book and done right. So my bearings are in. I'm going to put my C-clamp in. I'm going to go see if I can't find the hub itself, and then I will press that in. And I should be good to go. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you by some mean or you know, opportunity you'd like to know more about this, leave a message. I also have a Facebook account that I do check from time to time. It's called Brian, B-R-I-N-E, the Handyman. So look that up if you need to. Other than that, Mr. Fix-It-All had to break it first, but I finally got everything starting to roll forward. I got my new CV axle here. So if you've got this, good luck. Mr. Fix-It-All, just trying to keep everything steadily rolling. Let me know. Like this video if it helps. If it doesn't help and you have a question about it, I mean, leave your response. Mr. Fix-It-All, over and